Welcome to the Ward 1 Candidate Forum, presented by the Greater Guthrie Chamber of Commerce, coming to you live from City Hall in beautiful downtown Guthrie, America. Now, here are tonight's moderators, Guthrie Chamber of Commerce President and CEO, Brittany Timmons, and Chris Evans, owner and publisher of GuthrieNewsPage.com.
All right, I got the nod. We are officially on. So welcome everyone from beautiful downtown Guthrie inside Guthrie City Hall. Welcome to tonight's candidate forum for Guthrie City Council Ward 1, hosted by the Greater Guthrie Chamber of Commerce. My name is Brittany Timmons, and I'm with the Guthrie Chamber. I am joined this evening with Chris Evans of Guthrie Newspage. I just want to say before we officially get started that we feel at the Chamber it is super important for us to bring these type of events to our community. It's just another way that the Chamber can serve the community and make sure that everyone is very informed before you head to the polling stations. So we thank you for attending live, or if you're watching live on Facebook. And if you aren't able to tune in live, you can watch the video later on and share as well. So thank you so much for being here this evening.
Yeah, I've got a great crowd. Appreciate everyone being here tonight. This is an important process and glad to be a part of it. We are streaming live on Guthrie Newspage Facebook, Guthrie Newspage YouTube, as well as the Chamber's Facebook page. So no excuse not to see it if you're not seeing it live. So we appreciate everything. Also want to make sure everybody in the audience silence their cell phones so we don't have any interruptions and all that good stuff. I've looked at my phone 24 times and it's deadlocked on silent. Yes. So, the format of tonight's forum will allow our candidates up to 2 minutes for an opening statement, and afterwards we'll share some questions and allow the candidates up to a 2-minute response. Also 30 seconds for any rebuttal, and we ask if you do have a rebuttal just to raise your hand. We'll be sure to get you in there. So before we have our first question, I want to introduce our candidates here for the Ward 1 election. Will be April 4th, so circle that. Register voters in Ward 1. We'll talk about that a little bit more later on as well. So we'll look forward to that on April 4th, Tuesday, April 4th. But our candidates today, first to my immediate left is Adam Ropp, and next to him is Kaley Mills. We appreciate both of them, and if you drive through town, both have done a great job with signs and door to door, and so both of them are doing it the right way, and so we're in good shape with them. So we appreciate you guys' time tonight.
Also, before we get started, we did do a formal drawing to decide who would go first. And so Adam drew number 1 and Kaley drew number 2. So that is the order that we will start for this evening. So we will begin the forum with opening comments. And so Adam, you can start us off, and you will have 2 minutes? 2 minutes. 2 minutes. We'll give you 2 minutes. All right, starting now.
Thank you very much. First off, I would like to thank Brittany and Chris for putting this on. You guys do a lot of work for us, and I appreciate it so much. I'd also like to thank God for putting me in this position, regardless of the outcome. Yeah, my name's Adam Ropp. I'm sorry for all my signs littering the town. I promise I will pick those up when the election is over. I'm originally from Bartlesville, Oklahoma. I met my wife and Abigail. We got married in 2014. Our first date was actually in Guthrie. I took her here. I told her there was this magical fantasy place. You'll love it. I grew up my entire life loving this town, and you got to see it. And I didn't plan it right. We got here at night. She didn't really see how it looked right, but that was our first date here. I went to University of Central Oklahoma, where I graduated in mass communications, and then my wife and I made a permanent home here after I graduated. We have a house over by the temple in the northwest corner. We have 2 children, Virginia and Jasper. Virginia, my redheaded daughter, she's like my princess. We own the train station that's home to Gage's Steakhouse. I've been a city commissioner here for 5 years. I'm the chairman of the Historic Preservation Commission. You know, as I say, which means half of you now hate me and half of you now love me. Just being honest. My wife served on the Christmas committee that puts on the parades and the Victorian walks, and she's dedicated so much of her time to the city. She won Volunteer of the Year 4 years ago. The reason why I'm running is this is just a continuation of the love and dedication and service that I have already done for this community. And I see that it has just so much untapped potential, among the things that I already do love about it. So I think that sums it up rather nicely.
Thank you, Adam. Kaley?
Yeah, I also want to thank Brittany and Chris for putting this on. You guys do a great job of this kind of stuff, and I love watching you work because you're so good at it.
Thank you.
So thank you guys for doing that, and thank you to all of you who took the time this evening to come and be here and also to tune in online. So thank you for showing that this matters and it's important. I love Guthrie. It's such a cool town. I love the small town feel here. And so I also chose to move here. I'm from Cushing. I was working for the family business before I got a job at the state capitol 4 years ago. So I am a legislative assistant in the Oklahoma House of Representatives. I work for 2 state representatives. And I basically run their office, track their legislation. When constituents reach out with issues, I help, find solutions to those. I really enjoy serving my people. My dad was in the military when I was growing up, and so he just really inspired in me a love for my people, a love for service. So I love being able to go to work every day and work for my people, knowing that I am making a positive impact in their lives. So I'm running for city council because I just realized, working at the Capitol 4 years, there's been a lot of, I've just learned a lot about how to craft a good policy, how to work with people to get things done, even people who are different. And I've had a lot invested in me. I've been mentored by some great elected officials, and I just realized that other people can benefit from what's been invested in me. And I'm passionate about government being done well and people being served well. And Guthrie is the kind of community where you want to give back, and this is like my area of expertise that I can give back to this community. So.
Thank you, Kaley. And here in a minute, Brittany will have the first question, but and one more housekeeping note. These questions were submitted by residents. We opened up to the public, and a lot of them gave us these questions, and these questions were also shared with the candidates before this evening.
All right, so at the chamber, we like to say #ChooseGuthrie. So what we would like to know, and I think that would be great for the community to know, is why you chose Guthrie. So we will start, I know you touched a little bit on it, but if you want to elaborate, you may. So we'll start with Kaley.
Yeah, absolutely. Being from Cushing, being from a smaller town, that's just what I love. When I started working at the Capitol 4 years ago, I was staying with some friends in the city. And I'm just not a city girl. I just did not want to be in the metro area. And so Guthrie was it's like this perfect blend of small town feel, this sense of community, where you know your neighbors and you go to the ball games. And Guthrie is a small town, but we do big things here, like with the festivals that we have and just the community events, Red Brick Nights and all that cool stuff, Victorian walks. I mean, people come here to see what we have here, and I love that we have that sense of community, but we also, we're something that people want to come and experience. So I love that about Guthrie. I've really enjoyed being here and just learning more about this community, connecting with more people here in the community. This campaign has been great because I've really gotten to just dig in deep, and I love that. So yeah, I guess that sums it up for me.
All right, thank you, Kaley. Adam?
Why did I choose Guthrie? I was going to school. I mean, I've grown up always being in awe of this community, even as a young kid. I'm a movie producer now, and I've always been creative. And when you see this community, it's kind of like a canvas you want to paint your dreams with. And like I said, that's why on my first date I brought my wife here. I lived in Edmond, and I was going to school at UCO, and my wife and I were just not really Edmond people, I guess is the thing. Like, I mean, it takes 2 hours to go a mile, so congested, and we just always found ourselves coming down here. And we came down for the architecture at first, and then you start to get into the history, and then you start learning about that history, and you're just in awe of that history, and then you kind of want to be a part of it. We found ourselves coming here every single weekend, and then you come here for the history, but then I think you stay and you fall in love with the people here. You start meeting people like Stacy over at Rick's, you start meeting Hetty, you start meeting Dan Newton, you start meeting these people in the community, and you're like, gosh, I just want to stay here. And so as soon as I graduated, I mean, I've been here pushing about a decade now, and as soon as I graduated, we were already here. I mean, you meet people like Chris Evans. So,
100%.
you know, and like I said, I have 2 kids here now, and my wife and I were just remarking, you know, on the fact that we chose to come here, you know, but my children were born here, you know, and they're going to be raised here, and they're going to be Blue Jays here. I have a vested interest in many different ways, you know, for the future and the state of our community. So,
Thank you.
Thank you, Adam. As the first question will go here with Adam. As you both know, people will go out and vote for you on Tuesday, April 4th, but also there will be a ballot question for registered voters on April 4th if city council members should be paid a stipend. Right now, city council members are paid $1 a year, earn $1 a year, but there's been conversations, and a vote will be taken on 4th if city council members should be paid a $300 stipend. There's other cities, communities that have higher, some lower. But what are your thoughts on this ballot question? We'll start with Adam.
well, I took this position for the $1. I'm just joking. I understand why they wanted that. I understand why they passed, you know, I empathize with their frustration, you know. Kaley and I both have been door knocking now for probably the past 3 months, and you meet a lot of wonderful people, a lot of people who are very concerned with our community, and you know, and you have good conversations. But there's a lot of people who are not. There are people who are, you know, can be rude and can be kind of hostile. Just, and you're not even on council; you're just running. You know, so imagine what it's like in the actual position. I mean, Jeff can attest to this. He knows. You know, but with that being said, I mean, we knew this going in. You know this going in that is the situation. You know, and this is a volunteer position, and it's a position of servitude, and I think it should remain a position of servitude. So with that being said, you know, no, I am against this, and you know, I think it should remain a volunteer and a servitude position. I also think there's kind of a small, you know, it doesn't look good. We tell the fire department, the police department, utilities, you know, we don't have an extra dime to spend, and then we kind of have an extra $50,000 all of a sudden annually. You know, I'd rather see that money go to the fire department or the police department or to the utilities, you know, than to go to city council. So, again, I empathize, but I'm not for that.
Thank you, Adam. Kaley?
Yeah, well, Adam said it well. I mean, we both filed to run. You know, this was not what we ran for. I want to serve. That's why I'm doing this. And what I will say is the charter, according to the Guthrie Charter, anytime there is a pay raise that's proposed, it has to go to the voters. And I think that is the way that it should be. The voters should decide on that. So it's up to us voters now, which is entirely appropriate. I'm not going to tell anybody how to vote, but I will certainly share my perspective. As voters, there's 2 important questions that we need to answer on this. First of all, should the council be paid? You know, should it be entirely volunteer? Is their time worth being compensated? Are we worth that as a town? We are a small town. Obviously, in larger towns, it makes more sense because there's more of a workload and things like that. But that's something we have to answer. Should the council be paid? And if so, then how much? What makes sense for Guthrie? when the council was looking at this, they looked at different towns. That's something that we do at the Capitol a lot. When we're looking at a policy, we say, well, what other states are like Oklahoma, and what have they done to solve this, and how's that working for them? Is it working or not? And so I think that was wise, looking to other towns and saying, well, what do other towns do? To me, the most relevant examples are towns that are like Guthrie, that are similar in population, have a similar council makeup, that kind of thing. So that's a question that we need to answer. I believe that this is too high, so I personally will be voting against it. I don't think $300 a month makes sense for Guthrie for exactly the reasons that Adam mentioned. You know, there's all kinds of other things that we want to put our money towards. You know, higher pay for our law enforcement. I think that should be really important. And, you know, we've got all kinds of projects in town that we're working on. So those are my thoughts. You all get to decide, but I will be voting against it.
Thank you, Kaley. Okay, so we'll start this question with Kaley. Have you been happy with the direction the city of Guthrie is going? Give us examples of things you've been happy with and things that you would like to see improved or changed.
Great question. I've been attending council meetings for a couple years now, just because obviously government is a passion of mine, and I wanted to come and learn more about what decisions were being made here in Guthrie, who the decision makers were. So that's been fun for me, honestly. I always learn something every time I come to a council meeting. And what I've been really, really impressed with is how much city staff go after grants for different projects in town. I mean, it amazes me how many different grants they go out and find. They put a lot of effort into that. So that is something that I really appreciate about the city of Guthrie, and the staff working hard on that, and then the council members, you know, supporting them in that. We've gotten grants for pavement improvements on Pine in Oklahoma, which is in our ward. That's exciting. Equipment for our fire department, a street sweeper, the pop-up shops that are coming in downtown, all kinds of cool stuff like that. So we're working on a lot of other grants right now for replacing our water lines, the youth sports complex, a second fire station, stuff like that. So those are things that are exciting to me. I also love the emphasis on business development. I think staff and council have done a good job of that as well. That's really key. To me, infrastructure is just a huge need right now, and I know that council has been focusing on that. I think we really need to keep up that focus and really emphasize that. That's just kind of one of those basic things to a community that you have to have in place, especially if you're wanting to bring more businesses in. You've got to have the water lines, the streets, the broadband, all those kinds of things. So that is something that I would like to see more of a focus on. Great.
Thank you, Kaley. Adam, same question.
Yeah, so what are the things I've been happy about the city doing? Well, we used to be in the red, and and now we're in the black, so I'm happy about that. Thanks to our city council and especially our city management. So I'm really happy about that. What we've done with our parks has been really wonderful lately. You know, we have the frisbee golf, we have the basketball courts, the tennis courts, the walking trails, the splash pads. All the stuff we've done with our parks has just been so great. I mean, I take my kids to all of them, and it's just a wonderful time, and none of them cost money, you know. So everything the city has done with that, I'm just very thankful to that. I'm not just saying this. I'm really happy with how strong our Chamber of Commerce has been lately. And I'm not that the past has, you know, been bad. I'm just saying I really like the strength our Chamber of Commerce is right now. We have a lot of unity. It's the backbone right now of our businesses coming together for networking. It's been stronger than it's ever been. Again, Brittany, I'm not just saying that because you're sitting right there. But
Thank you.
Yes, but it is.
I did not ask him in the questions
Yeah,
to say that. Let me just
Also, the Guthrie News page. No, I'm joking. But I'm really happy with where the Chamber of Commerce is right now, that city has done. Dan Kasich, the city planner with the codes, he's been updating the codes so we can have a more streamlined system in town. Really happy with what they're doing with that. On that note, as far as what I'd like to see improvement, with the codes, I wish we had a little more consistency in how things are applied. It seems like one house has this kind of stipulation, another house doesn't. Now, in defense of the current crew that we have, Dan and his team, they'll be the first people to admit that's an issue. A lot of that is an inherited process and ordinances that's come from the previous people. So I'd love to work with them to fix that. I'd like to have more sales revenue for help funding the city as opposed to just raising money through utilities. I think I can get an amen from everybody on that. Where's my time? Oh, my time's up, sorry.
Thank you, Adam.
Thank you. All right, Adam, we'll begin with you on this question here. Guthrie will have a new city manager, Eddie Faulkner. Leroy Alsop, over 6 years here in Guthrie, has done an outstanding job, years of experience. Leroy has brought here, has done some great things with our staff, our community, and our council. How will you work with the new city manager, Eddie Faulkner? He'll begin April 17th, and then he'll have a 2-week period with Leroy, who will retire. But how will you, and he doesn't have as much experience as Leroy does, so how will you look to build a relationship with him? And also, council members, a lot of our council members have 8 years plus of experience. Some have 2, some have 4, so it's a very experienced group. As going into office, how will you look to bond with each council member as well as the new city manager?
I think this is the perfect time to bring up the fact that not one person can do anything, and that you are dealing with 7 people plus 8 with the city manager. You're dealing with a lot of different departments and people in town, a lot of organizations. I have made a point that when I go door to door, I never say, I will do this, it will get done. I say what I want to concentrate on and what my area of expertise is. But this is a good point to, this is a good time to bring that up. It's hard to get 8 people to agree on anything, anywhere, whether it be with your friends or your job or your family members. I mean, there's no way I'm getting 8 people in my family to agree on things. So I would say that as far as, working with the city council, working with the new city manager, it's just knowing that you're going to have disagreements, but you still need to work together, and you still need to be respectful towards each other, even though you have those disagreements. And, don't come into anything with any preconceived notions. There's 2 sides to every story, and then there's the facts in the middle. And that goes for the people that you know and your friends, as opposed to somebody you don't in any scenario. And this doesn't just go with, working with people on city council. This goes with city council and the people in the community. We need to be respectful towards each other. We need to listen to each other. Communication is key. And we should want to be hearing from each other. We should be wanting, to hear grievances. So again, just as far as with city council, city manager, communication is key. Always maintaining respect and dignity, and having a city council we can be proud of with your behavior. So.
Thank you, Adam. Kaley, same question?
Yeah, well, honestly, this is why I started coming to council meetings a couple years ago, is because I wanted to know who the decision makers were in our town. So as I just came and would sit back there on the back pew, I didn't come demanding anything. I didn't come with complaints. I just came to listen and learn and hear from these people. So I believe, like Adam said, the relationships are the most effective way to get things done. We see this in the House of Representatives all the time. If you really want to push policy through and get people's consensus, then you got to have those relationships where you can have open communication and build that trust. So the last council meeting, I introduced myself to Grant Aguirre, our new council member who was just sworn in, and also Eddie Faulkner, our new city manager, and just got to visit with them for a little bit, find out their background, just kind of who they are, where they're from. I like to hear people's stories because it helps me understand where they're coming from and their perspective. And based on the background that each of them has, I fully expect they'll do a great job for Guthrie, and that I'm excited about that, to see good people in place. So Working at the Capitol, I've learned that the secret to crafting good policy, which at first was kind of counterintuitive to me, but it's bringing those different voices to the table, people with different perspectives. Because when you're crafting a policy, there's a tendency to just kind of focus on what you see and what you know, and that often leads to unintended consequences for groups that kind of got left out of the conversation. So when you have people with different perspectives that come to the table, it allows you to say, oh, you're right, we need to think about that, and we need to tweak this a little bit so we don't, end up harming that group over there. And so just allowing people to listen, being able to process all of that, and figure out the best way to move forward.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, on this next question, we'll start with Kaley. What are your thoughts on adding a possible vacancy tax for the owners of the empty buildings in our historic downtown?
This is a great question. I appreciate the person who sent this in. So this was something that I was interested in very early on. This is one of the first issues that just really caught my attention because it comes up a lot in conversations with people. It's something that we can see all the time when we drive through the downtown. And I mean, I want Guthrie to have a good impression on people who come. The timer, you'll have to reset the timer.
My bad. I'm really into your answer here.
Yeah, you're doing good.
I was like, wow.
52, yeah.
He's fired from the next one. No.
You're doing a great job, Chris.
Yeah. Keep going, Kaley. You're just fine.
Okay, lost my train of thought on that. But,
2 minutes is up. Go.
all right.
You're saying you were looking at the
So,
building.
yeah, so I've talked to people who have researched this issue in depth and said, what can we do with these buildings downtown? We want something in there that's, a great place for people to come and shop and explore and all that kind of thing. So I've talked to some people who have researched this pretty in depth, and basically any town that's tried to do vacancy tax has run into legal issues. So that's not really a viable option legally. So we need to look at some other options, and that's something that I want to explore more. I really want to do more research into that and figure out a way, because I know there's got to be a way to solve this issue. I think that one thing that I would like to explore is possibly code enforcement, which you can only do that on the exterior of the buildings. You can't get into the interior for that. So that could be something, minimum maintenance standards, things like that. The challenge here is that you're trying to balance people's right to private property with what's good for the town. And both of those are valid, but this is where the challenge of government comes in all the time, is how do you balance people's rights? You have rights, you can't, you want to keep people from violating other people's rights. So that's a challenge with this issue.
Thank you, Kaley. Adam, same question.
I have an idea. This is my favorite one. I have an idea. Like I said, I've been here about a decade now. I've been paying attention to this very closely, okay? It's depressing. I mean, you can get in straight up depression with the amount of abandoned buildings in town. We can't do a vacancy fine. That's against state law. A vacancy tax. I understand the idea. I agree with Kaley, the legal standpoint, but it's not so much the legal standpoint, it's not going to work. If you follow the people in town who have abandoned buildings for literally 20 years, they are not going to follow a vacancy tax. They're going to find a loophole. They're going to put a desk in the window. They're going to put a sign on the window that says real estate office. They're not going to do any maintenance to the building. They're going to keep it locked. They're going to have a phone number on it, and you're going to call a real estate friend in Oklahoma City, and they're going to go there. A business is in there. And then you're going to go on a wild goose chase going around with them on that. So that's not going to work. What we need to do with the downtown buildings is bring back the fire marshal. That's what we need to do. This will do three things. And fire marshal will have annual inspections on the buildings every single year downtown. This will do three things. Number one, it'll stop the bleeding. A lot of these owners don't even do the most basic maintenance. Now they will have to. You have to fix the faulty wiring, the roofs, the foundation. Now those precious gems get preserved. Number two, and the second is the most important, it is the safety aspect. One negligent owner can cause a fire. It can take out the entire block. We saw what happened with Byron's building. It started in the fire shop and it moved over into Byron's building. We were very fortunate. The wind had been blowing in the other direction that could have taken out the entire block. There are no firewalls on these buildings. I have one of the largest ones, I know. But third is now they're going to be incentivized to go ahead and you have to put money into it. You can no longer sit and just get a tax write-off. They will be incentivized to now either sell it or you will have it fixed up or you can put a business in it. That is what we need to do.
Thank you, Adam.
All right, thank you. Next question is for Adam. Both of you have visited with the police department and the fire departments. I've seen that on social media. And if you look at the city budget, you will know that's maybe 2/3, if not more, of the budget of that goes with police and fire. What have you discovered that are their main concerns, and how do you look to address their concerns? And Adam, you're first.
This is hands down an easy question for both departments. They're understaffed. Like you said, we already put a lot of money into that, but we are understaffed with both departments. The police, I mean, they're supposed to have 4 overlapping patrols that go for one time, and they only have enough staff to do 3. If anybody gets sick, if anybody goes on vacation, it goes down to 2, okay, and this is unacceptable. The same thing is with the fire department. We only have enough crew, enough staff to have officially 1 fire unit. If we have 1 fire, they go out. If we have 2 fires, that unit has to split in half. If we have 3 fires, it's over. We've literally had instances where 1 fireman had to go by himself in a fire truck to a house fire where people lived on his own, okay? So staffing is a major issue. The call volume has gone from 2,100 to 4,000. It has doubled in 7 years, and our staff has remained the same, okay? I will not say where, but today, we had a call today for EMS, and we are so short-staffed that 1 guy by himself had to drive an ambulance in town to somebody that was unresponsive. Now, the lady she turned out to be okay, but he would have had to have loaded her on a gurney by himself, put the gurney in the ambulance by himself, and then worked on her in the ambulance with no one to drive the ambulance to the hospital. His only option would have been to call the police, and if someone was available, and however long that would have taken for them to drive over and drive them to the hospital, or get a civilian to drive the ambulance. This is unacceptable. Now, that's illegal. I don't know if they'd actually do that, but whatever option would you have if somebody's dying in the back? So we need to start being proactive instead of reacting as a community. What if this was your child? What if this was you or a family member? We need to start being proactive instead of reactive and get more staff.
Adam, I would follow up. The city staff was able to find $150,000 and the council approved 3 firefighters. Where's the funding come from that? We would love to have 50 firefighters on duty, but how do we afford even more? Again, the city was able to approve 3 additional firefighters, but still the need's there. Is there a funding mechanism that we can do?
There's different ways you can do it. I mean, you can reallocate money. For example, you have different officers at the station. So like, you have captains, you have different positions. In lieu of having that position, you can let that fray out, meaning like you don't fire a person up there, but when they go away, you don't rehire that position. You take that money and you reallocate it for more firemen on the ground. That's one option you can do. Another option, again, like what I was going to say earlier, sorry, you need to.
No, you're fine, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I asked to follow up. You're fine.
I don't want to just take the floor on that.
Okay.
That's
All
fine.
right.
You can go ahead.
All right,
Move
thank
on.
you. Kaley.
Yeah, I did get to tour the fire department. That was really cool, just being able to see their operations there, see the space that they have there, how they utilize it. I got to visit with Chief Harlow for a while and just hear his thoughts on the challenges that they face and his ideas for how to solve those issues efficiently, and some creative options there. So that was helpful. I also got to tour the police department and see what they do there. That was really an education and really helpful. And I got to do a ride-along, which was really cool, and just got a lot of information and insights about the challenges that our officers face on the streets, and also the leadership, the challenges that they face as well. So that was helpful. And I'm not going to. Adam did a great job of talking about how we do need more people on staff with our fire department and our police department. So I'm not going to rehash all that. I would say that a challenge there is not just funding, although that is there. Like, we want to be able to pay these people more and offer them a wage that will attract them to our community. But we, as a small town, we're not going to be able to compete with departments like Edmond and Oklahoma City. We know that, so we have to be able to offer them something else. What other incentives do we have? What do we have to offer as a community that will attract people here? Because it's not just a matter of funding, it's also a matter of just, workforce, like that's a big challenge for a lot of businesses right now, and a lot of different sectors. So that's something we need to look at. People have told me around town that they want to see more officers out on patrol. I do too. I think that's great. Another challenge the fire department has, which I don't have a lot of time to touch on this, but we need a second fire station. They're really running out of space. Even if we got more people on staff, where are we going to put them? So the city's been working on grants for that. That's been a focus, but that's also kind of an issue that they're having.
I'll allow you to go. I'll let Adam go a little bit further if you want to follow up on how we would love to have 2 or 3 fire stations. How do we fund a second fire station?
Yeah, that's a great question. That's the big challenge. I know Chief Harlow has some ideas on that, of trying to use some existing buildings rather than starting just from the ground up.
Yeah.
I think that's a great idea. So I know that they're looking into that option. Like I said, the city's been doing a great job of going after grants. So that's an option. I know the City Council has approved several grant requests for that from different funding sources. So those are some options that are in the works.
There's no doubt our firefighters, police officers have a lot on their hands, and they do a good job. So credit to Chief Swager and Chief Harlow.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you both. Okay, this next question, we'll start with Kaley. We are coming out of another record-breaking year for Guthrie sales tax revenue. So how do we see that increase, and how would you hope to make this year better than last year?
Yeah, I think a lot of that, I would just say shop local. Like you're always saying, Brittany, shop local. Support our local businesses, because that keeps the sales tax revenue here in Guthrie. And that is what the city runs on, is sales tax revenue. It's from our businesses. So that's an important piece that I want people to understand, and I think we as a community need to continue educating people on that. I am really excited about all this stuff that is happening right now of attracting businesses to Guthrie, and also growing our own businesses. That gets me really excited. So the pop-up shops downtown, that was a grant that the council approved. We were able to get a grant for that. The Meridian that we have, the business incubator there, the Peak, that just, I got to tour that as well and see all that. That just blows my mind. It is so exciting that we have something like that here in Guthrie. So that's, I think that's a key, is just continuing to attract more businesses here so that we have more options for things, and we don't have to go to Edmond all the time or Stillwater to do our shopping, but we can do it right here in our community. Keep our tax dollars here in our community. So that's what I'd say to that.
Thank you. Adam, same question?
Well, I already touched on the abandoned buildings. I mean, we've got to get more businesses in here, and I already talked about how we could do that. The short-term increases for sales tax, we'll touch on this here in a second, but we need to do more with tourism. We need more events. This would be a short-term, gain as far as sales revenue would go. And like I said, I'll touch more on that later. But business development is key here. What I really want to do, and what I've already started to do, this is not just a dream per se, is we need to start developing our I-35 corridor. Edmond is coming north, we all know that, it's already here. I know their boundary comes up somewhere, but that's not going to matter. The county's going to start getting developed, and it's going to get developed whether you like it or not. So do we want to be in control and have a say-so in that development, or do we want somebody from New York City, because that is going to happen. So we need to start being ahead of the curve. I've already been talking to one of the largest development companies in Oklahoma City, and they've already been out with me in the area. And we've looked at it, and I've asked them, what can we do to develop this? And they've actually given me a list, a criteria of things that we need to do, like a TIF, which is, the city can consider going ahead and getting the ground shovel ready, where you run out utilities, you get it where they can just basically, they want to look, and then finally, when they find a spot and they want to go in, the business will want to go the next day. The city pays for this, and it gets paid back in sales revenue from that. There's all kinds of things we can do, but they give me a list of a criteria of what they want to see. And again, they've already been out here. So this is not something that I hope to do. This is something that I'm already doing. This is easier said than done, though. I'm going to have to bring in the other counselors and the city manager on this. But I do want you to see that I'm already just being proactive on this. But I'd like to develop the I-35 corridor. Oh, I didn't go over. I'm 5 seconds anyways, but yes, business is key.
Thank you, Adam.
I'd like to
Absolutely.
do a rebuttal on that. It's important for us to understand the role of the council. We have a specific form of government here in our city, and the Oklahoma statutes kind of define what that looks like for us. And so the council, so we have an economic development department within our city. We also have community planning and things like that. And the council, they don't actually oversee the day-to-day operations of the city. They don't tell city departments, heads, or city employees what to do, how to do their job. That falls under the city manager. So I think it's important to understand that the council, their role is really enacting ordinances, creating policy, approving the budget, major expenditures, grant proposals, things like that. So it's just odd to me to hear a citizen talking about how they've been out doing economic development when we have a city department that handles that. And it's important to understand the roles of the council and the city departments and how all that works together, and not overstepping boundaries or roles. So I just wanted to.
All right, can I rebut that?
Yeah, absolutely.
That really doesn't rebut anything I just said. The majority of economic development at the end of the day is private citizens. Private citizens are the ones that buy, purchase, and bring businesses here. I don't need city council at all, or anybody for that matter, to have a private development company come in and say, we want to buy this land and we're going to put a business there. That has nothing to do with council. That has nothing to do with the city manager. They have every right and freedom in America to do that. That's all business development is. Just me as a counselor or a citizen or anybody else, you're just the one that's just trying to go in and show them and say, hey, you, private person, there's a great thing going on out here and we want you to be a part of that. And what that will bring when they come here is property tax and sale tax. And as a city, we will benefit from that. But I'm not overstepping bounds or saying, I mean, again, as a private citizen, all I did was just call them and bring them out and say, look at this. And they go, yeah. This is what we want to see. And as far as see, it's not anything I can do for them as far as making it happen. It's, them seeing the lots that are available, what's for sale, who the owners are, et cetera. So I didn't say anything that was overstepping any bounds, I don't think, because it's all really private anyways.
Thank you, Adam. We'll stick with money here. Capital Improvement Project, better known CIP sales tax. Citizens voted that several years ago. Has a 15-year, I don't know how many years left off the top of my mind, but it's been spent over and over and over in the past. But it's to help purchase a ladder truck, an engine, 10 police units, $1 million to a baseball field, hopefully, one day. Your thoughts on how the CIP sales tax has been handled, and if there's any left? I don't know if there's any left. I think it's 15, 20 million. I think we spent 100 million. I kid, but your thoughts on how the CIP sales tax has gone? Adam, yes.
Yeah, I've been really happy with how it's gone so far. Like you said, the parks, I mentioned earlier, I love what we've done with the parks. I love the splash pads. I love Banner Park, the basketball courts, the golf, and everything like that. So I was really happy what they did with that. One of my favorite things, is that we got the ladder truck. I felt like that was very much needed. That was very important. I did not think that that was something they were being spoiled with wanting. The trucks we had earlier were very inadequate for certain types of situations. It needed to go higher and over and the truck itself needed to be a certain radius from the house in case it fell in. So that was very much needed. The police vehicles, I'm glad we got those as well. I think we could have, hindsight's 20/20. We probably should have bought those in increments.
A lot of catching up to do.
Yeah, if you buy 10 or 12 cars at the same time, they're going to break down at the same time, and we're already kind of seeing that. So we probably should have thought about that a little bit and spread that out to 3 or 4 vehicles per year. But I'm glad that the police got that. They needed it. We did a lot of street projects. I'm happy about that as well. I would say, as far as what I'd like to see the rest of it go with, would actually be utilities. We might come on that, cover that a little bit later, but we can't keep kicking the can down the road. The water pipes, we have 55 miles, that's pre-1975. The roads, we just, and again, this is not to criticize Tinney or any of his crew. They're doing a great job with the limited funds that they have, and that's why I'd like CIP to go to that. But yes, what I would like, I'm really happy with what we've done, but what I would like to see it go toward in the future is probably our infrastructure.
Thank you, Adam. Kaley?
Yeah, this is a great question. I appreciate the person that sent this in because this really shows a lot of thought on their part. So Chris and Adam did a pretty good job of explaining what this is, the capital improvements project. It's a 3/4 cent sales tax. Guthrie voters did vote on that and approve that, so it's something that they vote on. It is 15 years and then it sunsets, and I think that's a good idea, and I can get into that a little bit more why here in a little bit. But to me, the most important part about this is fiscal responsibility. That is the city council's most important role, is safeguarding the people's tax money. And with something like this, it's really important to specify what the tax money will be used for. Like, these are the specific projects that we're asking you as the taxpayers to fund with this tax. And that needs to be clear up front, and then the city council has got to fight for that, because when you've got money coming in like this, it's really easy to say, oh, we've got this need, let's just pull from here, let's just throw that money over there. So the city council has to really champion, no, this is what we told the voters that this money was going to go for, and so this is what it's going to go for. So that's really important to me. I think it'd be cool to have a fund within that specifically for matching funds for grant proposals. So we can say, hey, we've got this much money over here and we want to request a grant for this project. Well, here's our matching funds right here, and we can easily do that. So I think that would be great. I do want to see these projects continue to, this funding continue to focus on infrastructure. I think that is a really important part right now. Our parks, people have been mentioning to me that we need more recreational activities for our kids and also our senior adults. So that's something that I would want to explore with this.
Thank you.
Okay, on this next question, we'll start with Kaley. In regards to developing the city over the next 10 years, what do you consider most important?
It's a good question. So as we all know, Guthrie is growing. There are 150 homes platted just in Guthrie alone. So that's going to bring, that's going to bring some changes. There's over 2,000 in Logan County. That's probably a modest estimate. So that's something we would need to consider, the implications of that, having more people living here, having more traffic, having these housing developments going in on our flows, things like that. That's something we need to look at. We have some great things going, which is exciting to me, and I want to see those continue, like the business development side of things, the street improvements, the ball fields, the things that we're already pursuing grant funding for. Those things are exciting. So that's what I would say.
Thank you. Adam?
As far as looking at it from a 10-year perspective, I agree too. I mean, and this is with the idea in mind that we are growing in population still, we're growing with businesses. So, because obviously, what do you think is most important? In a lot of things too, everything's, cohesive. Everything comes together. So it's hard to kind of say what is important, when everything kind of goes with each other, But yes, as we're growing, something we are going to have to fix is the infrastructure more than ever. Just like, Edmond was made to be this little town, and that's why when you're there, and it's anywhere from 5 to 7 o'clock, it takes you 2 hours to go a mile down the road. It feels, not really, but you know what I'm talking about. And we're already seeing this here in town. I mean, I hate going to Noble anywhere from 3 to 6 o'clock trying to pull out on that thing. It gets backed up on Wentz, and that's right now. So you can imagine what it's going to be like in 10 years. So I agree with Kaley 100%. We're going to have, the infrastructure is going to have to grow with it. And that's just any community faces that. And that's going to be a big undertaking. That will be a big undertaking, and it's going to take cooperations from local, county, and state officials to do that. Okay, like divisions of state highway, Again, with that, we're going to need more. I've already, hit this box hard a while ago. We are going to need more police. We're going to need more fire to protect the city. But most importantly, though, I want to say this, with all this improvement that we're doing, that every town has to face, what I think Guthrie needs to think about most of all is in that 10 years, we need to maintain who we are, and we need to maintain our history, and we need to maintain, Guthrie being that vintage Victorian city. So we need to maintain our identity in that 10 years, and that's the most important thing.
Thank you.
Adam, you mentioned the identity of Guthrie. Tourism is a big part of that, and I think always will be. How do you look to expand upon tourism, and thoughts what we could be doing to bring in even more tourism as far as revenue?
Yeah, this is good. We just had the Renaissance Festival. We had anywhere from 8,000 to 10,000 people here in the weekend. It is not just a talking point. It is massively important for our community. Think about all the sales tax on that. Think of all that. Shout out to John Pagonis for putting that on. He is just Barnum and Bailey. As somebody myself who puts on festivals here and events here, and I'm a filmmaker. I do Lifetime movies and Hallmark movies and stuff. I've worked with the city on all these different events, and we are a film-friendly city, but we are a festival and event-friendly city as well. And shout out to Justin Fortney, Leroy, Tenny, everybody at the city. Anything you need, they're always there. Like, whether it be cones, sandbags, you name it. They're just so responsive. They go the extra mile. What I think we can do is we have a lot of underutilized areas. A lot of people kind of forget we have that little rodeo area over there by the fairgrounds. It's kind of out of sight, out of mind, but we need to start utilizing spaces that are kind of forgotten. We can do infrastructure in the places that we already do have events. Like, I think the Flats could use a little more emphasis with the electric availability. We can put fencing around there, permanent places to sit. It is a flood zone, so gotta keep that in mind. But that's something we can do. You can never do enough marketing. Justin over in the tourism department, they do the best they can. I think we could ask him, hey, how can we help you? So you guys can go out in Oklahoma City. You can go to more conventions and represent us and stuff like that. I think biking trails would be important. That's kind of a staple now in most communities. A lot of cyclists, too, are very wealthy. I've looked at the demographics. That would be something we can do. A permanent stage or amphitheater, we had one at one time. That would be something else also to bring. Oh, I'm almost losing it. I don't think we're doing our historic trolleys anymore. It'd be nice to bring that back. I also think it would be cool if we had a historic Guthrie app that you can get on your phone if you're visiting here. You can go around town, and it'll be interactive with the buildings. I also, I'm out of time, sorry. I had a lot of ideas, but I'm out of time.
Thank you, Adam.
Yep.
Kaley?
Yeah, I love the tourism aspect of Guthrie. Just the fact that as a small town, we have a tourism department is really phenomenal. So that's exciting to me. I love that. You know, Adam said that Justin Fortney does a great job of that. I think we're really, really spoiled as a community, having him working on that stuff. And that's where I would go back to, as the city council, you know, we have these city department heads who specialize in these areas and focus on these things. So it's, you know, as the council, I think questions that the council can ask is, what kind of policies do we need to be creating? What, you know, do we need to change some ordinances to make it easier to have festivals here, things like that? What can we do with the budget? Do we need to provide more funding for some of these things? Are there some grants, you know, that we could be going after, things like that? Those are questions that the council can be asking. I thought Adam brought up a good point, though, on the last question when he was, you know, there's a lot of people that come to Guthrie to explore this town, which is great, and I would love to see more fun stuff downtown that's just really unique to Guthrie, like Licorice Man and Cleveland & Co. and the ice cream shop and stuff like that. That's all fun stuff that I think is a fun experience for people when they come here. But it's really important for us as a community to communicate our values, like who are we? What does it mean to be Guthrie? What does it mean to live here and be part of this community? So, you know, I mean, we have people that come and explore, but we also have people that are going to come and say, I want to stay here, I want to move here. And with all of this new housing coming in, I know there's a concern of like, are people going to come in from outside and change who we are? So it's really important for us as a community to say, these are our values. We care about our neighbors, you know, we support our schools. We appreciate our law enforcement. I think that's important for us to think about moving forward.
Yeah, everyone works together as well, school, city, all that stuff. Brittany has allowed me one bonus question.
Only one.
Only one. And I only had one rebuttal question for follow-up for both of you, so I think I'm doing a good job tonight. So I'd like to give you guys 2 minutes each to talk about one topic that we have not been able to discuss tonight that you want to get. It can be one topic for you, Adam. It has to be the same one for you, Kaley. So just that one topic that maybe, you know, you guys are knocking a lot of doors, maybe what you're hearing the most, but just a 2-minute topic that you want to hit home. Adam, you get to go first.
Okay. I know exactly the one I want to talk about. Having door knocked, you know, yeah, there is a list that people are most concerned about. It seems to me the most was infrastructure, but one of the top 3 was the stray animals, the feral cats, the stray dogs in town. Even the animal lovers in town, everybody acknowledges that we have a stray animal problem, we have a feral cat problem. They acknowledge that, and that something needs to be done. The only difference is just that, you know, the animal groups in town, not even animal groups, just people in town, there's people in town who look at it not just from a technical aspect, but from a moral aspect, and this is in regards to the animal ordinance that was proposed to be passed. And I don't want to get it wrong and say, you know, they were going to roam around, killing, you know, gunning down animals in the street, but it seemed to be a system in place that, you know, if you had more than 2 animals at your property and your neighbor called it on you, that they could be taken, you know, and potentially euthanized. And I am, you know, much like other people in town, you know, think that's kind of going a little too far. And I would really like us to ramp up spay-neuter and hold owners accountable who are negligent with animals they have at their property. I've already started a coalition with professionals and other citizens in town alike. We have a zoologist in our group, for crying out loud, which seems a little overkill, but we're lovely to have it, along with Lisa New and Paws and Claws. And so we're already being proactive with that. We have people that are professors in college that are in our group, and we're going to write grants to help assist with being able to do more spay and neuter in town. But we're also looking for volunteers, so that's a topic that I'd like to bring up.
Perfect. Thank you, Adam. Kaley?
Yeah, that's a good topic to mention because obviously that is a big discussion around town. I've visited with a lot of people about that as well and their concerns on that. So I won't rehash all of that. I want to respect people's time. Well, what I would say on that, and this is something that I've really been thinking about a lot, is the importance of crafting good policy. When I first saw this proposed ordinance in the agenda packet when it came out before the city council meeting, I read through it, and honestly, I was like, man, this is a mess as far as a policy. It's not well written. It's not done. We do have a problem, so let's address that. This is a good kind of, okay, let's get the conversation going. But my thoughts were, how are we going to implement this, for one thing? And how are we going to enforce this, for another thing? So those are important questions that we need to be asking when we're bringing things up like this. And that kind of goes back to why it's important to have different perspectives at the table, to have people who are experts in that field come in. One of the council's main important roles is to listen to people, to take in the perspectives of people in town. Everyone has a right to be heard, and a good council member will be able to take all that input, all those perspectives, and kind of pull it all together, process it, digest it, and say, okay, this is the right way forward that's going to benefit, the most people. So that's something that I've learned a lot about. I've seen this play out a lot, and so that's where I think, that's where I believe I have a strength that I can bring to the council and offer that to the council with my policy background. I would also say, well, I'm out of time. I'll leave it at that.
Thank you, Kaley. Extra bonus point? No.
No, Chris is done. No, thank you, Chris. That was a great idea. So what we'll do now to close out the evening is we'll start with you, Kaley, and you will each have 2 minutes just to make your closing remarks.
Okay.
Start now.
Well, once again, thank you guys for doing a great job. I really appreciate the way that you put this on, and I appreciate everyone for coming, taking the time to listen and hear. And I would say if you have questions, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm always happy to visit with people, or if you have complaints or ideas, I'm happy to listen. I believe that if you want to serve people well, you will tell them the truth. Because if you're only telling people what they want to hear, that's only serving yourself. And so my commitment to you is that I will listen, I will work with people to try to solve problems, and I will always strive to do what is best for the city of Guthrie. I'm not a politician, I'm a public servant. I love serving my people. I'm not here to try to build my own name. Like, my job is to make someone else look good. That's what I do. My job is to make someone else successful. And so I'm not here to try to climb the political ladder. I just want to serve Guthrie, and I feel like this is my background, my area of expertise that I can provide. I think it's important to have common sense and to be able to think through things and work with people. So I hope you all will join me in doing that. I'd be honored to have your vote. And once again, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Kaley. Adam, closing remarks?
I just want this to be a council that people are proud of. Not that I'm saying that it's not already. I'm just saying I want it to be a council that people are proud of. And I want to be the type of counselor that listens to everyone and that everyone is heard and that everyone can speak. That was one of the issues too I felt with the fire and the police department. There's like 6 channels they feel like they have to go through before it finally gets to the vote up there at council, and they were just happy that somebody was kind of in their corner listening to them. And I'm happy to be that person, not only for them, but for everybody in the city, not in Ward 1, but throughout the entire town. When we lived, my wife and I were here for about 2 years, you know, the romance wears off a little when you see half the town abandoned. And my wife said, get in the car, and we were kind of depressed about it, and we drove downtown. She said, get in the car, I want to show you something. So we go downtown, and we were standing out on the corner of the post office. And it was about 11 o'clock at night. We didn't have kids then, obviously. and we're looking around, and she goes, pick one. And I'm like, what? And she goes, pick one. She goes, let's be the change we want to see. And so we picked the Victor and didn't get it. But we ended up getting the train depot. And that's why we did that. We didn't do that wanting to become rich or become like these big, you know, lords or whatever. We got it because we wanted to make the difference that we were wishing somebody else would do. And that's why I got on the Historic Commission. I got on there to preserve the remaining buildings that we have. My wife volunteered so much. She was Volunteer of the Year. She dedicated so much of her time. And you know, the reason I'm running is this is just a continuation of the dedication and the love and the servitude that I've already done. I'm not getting on because I have an axe to grind. You know, I'm here because I've loved the city and I've put that through with my actions for the last 10 years. So please vote for me, and April 4th.
Thank you, Adam. Thank you, Kaley. Thank you, Adam.
Yes.
Great job. As I started off, you guys have done a great job. You've done it the right way, both professional. Very pleased to see that, and I think we'll be good moving forward regardless of what happens on April 4th. So, also big thank you to Aaron Ryburn back in the control room. He builds all those graphics. He does all the switching, does all the stuff. He's always the man behind the scenes, and so all those cool graphics he makes, we
I
appreciate
halfway
it.
expected him to come to the window and go, closer to the mic.
Well,
I didn't get any text from him, so we've done very well tonight.
so a reminder to all the voters out there in Ward 1, Kaley and Adam will be on your ballot to go out and exercise your votes on Tuesday, April 4th. And for those in Ward 2 and Ward 3, they will not be on your ballot, but there will be a question for our city council members moving forward if there should be a $300 stipend or not. So if you live in the city limits and you're a registered voter, you will have a ballot regardless. Folks in Ward 1 will have 2 questions on there. So get out and exercise your right to vote, and take your kids so they see how it is done.
And you'll get a sticker.
And you get a sticker.
And you get a sticker, so.
And thank you, Brittany. You do a great job. You know, you guys are doing a great
Thank
job
you,
with Justin, but you did a good job.
Thank you. So thank you to everyone who attended this evening or tuned in online. Please, like I said earlier, please feel free to share the live stream. You know, the more awareness we can get out, the more education, the better, so that everyone feels like they know who they want to vote for, and they know you two a little bit better. So hopefully tonight helped with that. I just have a few chamber things that I would like to say before we close. I'll keep it short. I'll keep it short. No, as always, people may not be aware of this, but we have chamber coffee every single Wednesday at 9:30 a.m. We are one of the only chambers that I know of within a very large vicinity that has a weekly chamber coffee. And so we invite the public to attend. We often get asked, you know, do I have to be a chamber member to attend? You do not. You're welcome to come and learn about different chamber members. And so tomorrow at 9:30, we'll be at the chamber office, 113 West Oklahoma, downtown, and our host is Wings of Hope. So we would love for you all to come and learn more about them and their work that they do here in Guthrie and Logan County. So I invite you to that. Also, next Thursday, April the 6th, we are once again partnering with the city of Guthrie and Meridian Technology to do a career fair. We had great success with that in the fall. Our members really enjoyed that. The community enjoyed it. There were people who left employed, which is exciting. And so that's the goal. So we would love to invite the public and our businesses to participate. Next Thursday, it's from 2 to 5. So if you're looking for a job, please come by. We have, I think we're up to 10 businesses now that are hiring for full-time and part-time positions. And also, if you are a business that would like to participate, reach out to us because we still have some space available for that. So that's next Thursday, the 6th. I'll keep it short. If there's anything else you want to know, just check out GuthrieChamber.com. We have a chamber app. It's free. You have access to our calendar, which is just full of tons of great information and events and things like that that our members are hosting. So we would love for you to download our app, follow us on Facebook, and thank you again for just our support, or your support, and we hope that you have a great evening. Thank you, everyone.